Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. My name is Francis, and for the past few months, my marriage has been hanging by a thread. It's been a slow, painful unraveling. The kind where small disagreements turn into full-blown arguments, and even the simplest conversations feel like walking through a minefield. At first, I thought we were just going through a rough patch. Every couple has ups and downs, right? But the more I've paid attention, the more I realized that something was seriously wrong. I won't lie, I have my suspicions. I believe my wife, Jemima, is seeing someone else. I don't have concrete proof, but the signs are there. The late nights with vague excuses and rumors are notable. People talk. I hear things. And the worst part? My gut is telling me that it's true. I've tried to catch her in the act, but she's always one step ahead. Every question I ask is met with defensiveness. It's exhausting. I find myself second-guessing her every move, replaying old conversations in my head, looking for the lie I might have missed. My 16-year-old daughter, Kendra, stays quiet when we argue, but I can tell it affects her. One evening, I got home earlier than usual that day. It wasn't planned, just one of those rare times when the roads were clear and I didn't have to battle through traffic for hours. Jemima wasn't home. I checked around. Nothing. As I walked down the hall, I saw my daughter, Kendra, in her room. I stopped by the door and asked, "Where's your mom?" Without looking up from her phone, she said, "She went out this afternoon." That answer hit me the wrong way. Just an hour ago, when I called Jemima, she told me she was at home, sitting in the living room, scrolling through her phone. Now I was standing in that same living room, staring at the empty couch, where she claimed to be. I took out my phone and called her again. She picked up almost immediately. "Hey, babe," she said casually. "You okay?" I kept my voice steady. "Yeah, just checking in. Are you home?" She didn't hesitate. "Of course, I'm in the living room." "Why?" I let that sit for a second. It's like lying came easy to her. I took a breath and then, in the calmest voice possible, I said, "I need you to stop lying because I'm already at home and you're not here." Silence. That was the moment she realized she was caught. But instead of apologizing or admitting the truth, she did something worse. She pivoted. "Oh, I just stepped out for a quick errand," she said, her voice suddenly changing. "I needed to grab something from the store." I didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't say a word. I just ended the call. I stood there feeling this deep, sinking feeling in my chest. Sava Shalit. It rolled off her tongue like second nature. And that made me wonder, how many times has she done this before? How many lies have I swallowed without even realizing it? If she could lie this smoothly about something so small, what else had she been hiding for me? An hour later, Jemima walks through the door, casually carrying a shopping bag. Her expression is neutral, her movements controlled, and she even manages a small. I watch her as she kicks off her shoes and sets the bag down on the counter, humming softly like a woman who just returned from a normal day of errands. But I know better. I know she lied to me, and I'm done pretending. "Where were you?" I ask, my voice sharp but steady. She barely looks up. "Oh, I ran to the mall." "We were out of a few things," she says, waving a dismissive hand toward the bag as if that explains everything. "Is that so?" She nods, still playing it cool, but I see it the quick way she avoids my gaze. It's a trained response. She's lying. Again. "Jemima," I say, my voice lower this time, slower. "I called you an hour ago and you told me you were home, sitting in the living room." Well, yeah. "I had just stepped out when you called," she says quickly. "I didn't think it was a big deal." "Not a big deal? You lied. You didn't just step out, you were gone for hours, you weren't here." Kendra told me. That's when her mask slips for the first time. "Francis, you're overreacting. I don't know what you're trying to imply, but I just went to the store. That's it." But I keep pressing. I step closer, my voice no longer calm. "Then why did you lie to me on the phone? Why did you pretend to be home when you weren't?" The tension in the room tightens like a noose. "Because I knew you'd react like this." She snaps, her voice rising, always suspicious, always accusing me. I shake my head and I wonder why Jemima, because the rumours aren't just rumours. Maybe because every time I ask where you've been, your answers don't add up. She glares at me now defensive, but I'm not backing down. The air between us crackles with the weight of everything unspoken. I take a deep breath and finally say what's been burning inside me for months. Were you with your lover? The moment the words leave my mouth, the room shifts. Jemima's eyes widen slightly, but before she can open her mouth to respond, another voice cuts through. Dad's not my real father. The words were unexpected. For a moment, I think I imagined it. The room goes still. I turn slowly to where the voice came from. Kendra stands there. My 16-year-old daughter just dropped a bomb I never saw coming. Jemima goes rigid, her mouth slightly open, but no words come out. My mind struggles to process what I just heard. What did you just say? I finally managed my voice barely above a whisper. Kendra swallows hard, her eyes darting between me and her mother, but she doesn't back down. I took a DNA test, she says, her voice shaking. You're not my biological father. For a moment, I feel completely disconnected from my own body. You what? The words barely leave my mouth. Kendra hesitates. After your last fight, arguing about infidelity and paternity, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I needed to know the truth. I took a secret DNA test and it came back. You're not my real father. I turned to face my wife, Jemima, who suddenly snapped out of her frozen state. No, she blurted out, shaking her head frantically. That's not true. She must have made a mistake. But I wasn't stupid. I turned to my daughter. Do you have the results? Kendra hesitated, then nodded. She grabbed her bag, pulled out an envelope and handed it to me. My fingers were ice cold as I took it. I unfolded the paper, scanning it with shaky hands. Probability of paternity 0%. So you knew, I said to my wife, my voice barely audible. Jemima's mouth opens and closes, struggling for words. Francis, please, letting out a choke sob. She doesn't try to fight anymore or try to twist the truth because there's no running from this. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I never meant for you to find out like this, she whispers. I laughed. So you meant for me to never find out at all? She collapses onto the couch, burying her face in her hands, and then, between broken sobs, she finally says it. Kendra was conceived right before we got married. And just like that, everything makes sense. Now, I don't know how I'll ever recover from this. After that night, I couldn't bring myself to speak to Jemima unless I had no other choice. Every word felt forced, every interaction unbearable. I avoided her as much as I could, staying out of sight, keeping my responses short when she tried to talk to me. I spent most of my time alone, shutting myself in the study for hours or sitting outside, trying to process the weight of her betrayal. But no matter how much space I tried to create, Jemima kept pushing her way in. She would knock on the door, sit beside me, uninvited, or act as if things could go back to normal if she just kept trying. I don't know how she saw this whole situation, but for me, it wasn't something that could be fixed with a few conversations or forced interactions. Betrayal like this doesn't just fade away, it lingers, it eats at you, and it makes you question everything. And no matter how badly she wanted me to move on, I couldn't pretend like her deception didn't tear apart the life I thought we had. Kendra took it the hardest. She blamed herself for everything. The guilt ate away at her. And I saw it in the way she carried herself. And when she did speak, it was always laced with frustration, like she was waiting for me to confirm her worst fear, that I saw her differently now. But I didn't. I couldn't. No DNA test could change the fact that I had raised her, loved her, protected her since the day she was born. I made sure she knew that. Every time she tried to pull away, I reminded her, "You are still my daughter and none of this is your fault." I said it over and over, hoping that eventually she would believe me. But no matter how much I reassured Kendra, the weight of Jemima's deception was suffocating. She had never planned on telling me the truth. If Kendra hadn't taken that test, I would have lived my entire life in ignorance. She built our marriage on a foundation of deceit, covering one lie with another until it became an unbreakable wall of falsehood. And now that the wall had crumbled, I could finally see it for what it was: manipulation, betrayal, a complete lack of respect for the life we built together. Now I find myself at a difficult crossroads, and no matter which direction I turn, there is no easy way out. Staying in this marriage feels impossible. The love, the trust, the very foundation that held us together, it's all gone. I can't pretend that things will ever go back to normal because the reality is there was never a real normal to begin with. I built my life around a lie, and now that I know the truth, I can't unsee it. Every time I look at Jemima, I see the years of deception, the way she carefully crafted a life where I was never meant to know the truth. The thought of sharing a home with her, waking up every day next to the person who betrayed me so completely, is unbearable. Part of me wants to pack my bags, walk away, and let her deal with the consequences of the mess she created. But then there's Kendra, my daughter, the one person in this situation who had no part in the lies, yet is suffering the most because of them. She didn't ask for this. She didn't choose this. And as much as I want to leave Jemima behind, I can't ignore the fact that leaving means leaving Kendra in her hands. That terrifies me. I know Jemima is frustrated. I see it in her face, in the way she carries herself, now that the truth is out. I don't trust her, and I don't know how her resentment will affect Kendra in the long run. If I walk away completely, I risk putting my daughter in a situation where she has no one to truly look out for her. And the harsh reality is, I can't even fight for custody. Legally, I have no rights over her. The system will see me as nothing more than a man who raised another man's child. So what do I do? Do I stay in a marriage that suffocates me just so I can be close to Kendra and make sure she's okay? Or do I walk away knowing that my absence might make things worse for her? Every option feels like a losing battle, and the weight of it is crushing me. This wasn't an easy story to share. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that silence doesn't protect anyone. So let me leave you with the lessons I've gathered from this betrayal. Lessons I wish I didn't have to learn the hard way. First, if you've done something terrible in the past, hiding it won't make it go away. The truth doesn't just disappear because you buried it under lies. It sits there, waiting for the worst possible moment to come out. And when it does, it hits like an explosion, blowing up everything you thought was solid. My wife kept her secret for 16 years. But did that change the reality? No. The damage was just waiting to happen. And when it finally did, it was even worse because of all the deception surrounding it. Second, secrets don't just destroy marriages, they destroy families. I wasn't the only one who suffered from this. My daughter, who I love more than anything, was left carrying guilt she shouldn't have to bear. Imagine being 16 and realizing your whole life was built on a lie. She felt like she betrayed me by exposing the truth, even though she did nothing wrong. That's what secrets do. They force the people we love into impossible situations, turning them into collateral damage. Third, and maybe most importantly, trust is fragile. Once broken, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. I don't know if my marriage can survive this, and to be honest, I don't even know if I wanted to. It's not just about this one lie. It's about everything that came with it. The manipulation, the deception, the fact that I was given a choice, except the choice was stolen from me before I even knew it existed. Can you really love someone the same way after that? Can you look them in the eyes and feel anything but betrayal? So now I ask you, what would you do if you were in my position? Is there anything left to fight for in a marriage built on lies? Or is it better to walk away? Let me know in the comments, because, honestly, I don't have all the answers. But I do know one thing: no one deserves to live in the dark. If you took something from my story today, make sure to like and share. Maybe it'll help someone else before they end up where I am now.